Welcome to your Cochrane right now. This is a weekly podcast all about the best town in the world, Cochrane, Alberta. My name's Eric Ruddle, joined by Lauren Meister. And Lauren, there's a really cool program going on in Cochrane starting, I think, this week. Hockey players are coming to town.
Yeah, this is really cool. So P3,
Yes.
they are hoping to get some billets, and they did this program last year, actually, and they brought in a bunch of hockey players from the Czech Republic.
Yes.
And they're doing this again this year.
Oh,
So it's
cool.
about a month long or so, and they're just looking for these billet families to host these hockey players. And it's really cool because, of course, the gold medal game was Canada against Czechia, and Canada won.
Exactly.
But
So they're angry. So just bring them on to
bring them back to Canada. But I guess, a lot of really good friendships were formed last year. So it made for some fun conversations and some banter between people during that gold medal game. But I just think what a cool experience. I have a son who plays a lot of hockey, and he's just about 10 years old. And I was telling him about this idea, and he just thinks it's the coolest thing.
Well, especially for him or a hockey playing family, it's almost like you could have a built-in tutor for your kid, right? Like a trainer. Being like, hey, man, you become buddies and then go out even to Tim Bannister rink and just skate. And he'll show you some tips and tricks.
Exactly. Yeah. Or just do some street hockey or whatever. Just kind of like an older brother, like somebody to kind of hang out with.
Yeah, that would be really cool. And you asked would I think about it? I've not watched a hockey game in probably 15 plus years. So I'd imagine me sitting down there with this kid who is probably 100% hockey, right?
Yeah,
Once you hit this level, you are all hockey.
Oh, you are 100%
right?
hockey.
So I'd be hockey.
Yeah. But not even a hockey exchange student. What about just hosting a student? Because lots of times, high school students, there'll be an exchange student coming in, or the Rotary Club, they do exchange programs. Would you ever host an exchange student? Or have you ever? Did you guys ever host one when you were a high school student?
No, I never hosted anyone, but I would be down, especially if it's one of those programs where it's we'll watch your kid for 3 months, and then my kid gets to go to Japan or France or whatever and gets their experiences as well. There's always a little bit of a worry of being hey, a person I've never met, come live with me for 3 months, especially a kid who also might not speak English.
For sure.
But how about you? Is that something that you're down with?
I think it's a cool idea. So I think I was in late elementary school. My brother did an exchange program. I have no idea what it was for because it was kind of in the summertime.
Okay.
And he went to Newfoundland, and then there was
exotic.
I know. It wasn't worldly, really. I mean, it was kind of cool, but
it's different.
And then this kid from Newfoundland, he was a high school student. He came to stay with us, and I think it was for about a month or so. And I think I was about grade 7 or 8 or so. But from what I remember, he didn't really have much to do with me. I was just the annoying little sister, basically. But I believe he liked my sister.
Nice.
She was also in high school at the time, and he was trusted to drive the vehicle. And that did not turn out very well. I had heard from other people a couple years later that people are he didn't treat that vehicle very nicely, and I know my dad had to put some dollars into that vehicle as well.
To be fair to that kid, though, right? So your brother got to go to Newfoundland, one of the most beautiful places in all of Canada.
Yeah.
This poor kid got sent to Central Saskatchewan?
Also one of the most beautiful places in the
Welcome.
world.
There's prairies and prairies. He's can I borrow the car?
Hey, but to him, though, you got to think, what a cool experience.
So
Going from
cool.
ocean and get to see the beautiful prairie and northern lights. And he'd probably never seen wheat before.
Wheat, yeah, exactly. I'm sure that was an even divide. But you got to imagine, especially now that the pandemic is winding down and stuff, these programs are going to go into hyper mode. And I'd imagine even more billet families and more exchange families are going to be here in town.
I think it's a great idea. And just making those friendships. I know a girl that I went to high school with, they had an exchange student from New Zealand, and her and her sister became such good friends with her that even when they got married, she came over and went to those weddings and vice versa. And they're still in contact with her all these years later. She's part of the family still, even though she lives in New Zealand. So it's really cool.
That is really cool. Now, jumping to communities just outside of Cochrane, they're pretty much Cochrane. We'll start with Redwood Meadows, right? Just 10 minutes up the road. And they have a really cool thing going down that was donated to their firefighters. What is this?
So this is really, really cool. Actually, they have a resident who lives in the Redwood Meadows area who was like, you know what? I want to help the fire department. So they're like, what can I get you guys? I want to spend some money.
Like
I want
a new hose.
Yeah, a new piece of equipment.
Yeah.
So the fire department's like, you know what? We would love this fancy drone that has infrared capabilities, because this is not something that they would typically buy.
Oh, yeah, it's a little extra.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, they can always use probably new hoses and all of the other regular things, but this is something that's really, really special. So this piece of equipment cost about $10,000. It's pretty fancy.
Yeah,
I didn't even
donated.
Donated to the fire department. And this is a volunteer-based fire department. Like, these are all volunteer firefighters. They all have other jobs.
Here, volunteer. Here's the controller to a $10,000 drone.
Yes.
Don't crash it.
Well, so you have to actually be, like, you have to have a special license with Transport Canada.
It's probably like huge.
I don't have a clue. I don't know how big it is.
Yeah.
But so there's only 2 people who can actually fly it. But
Nice.
It's so cool. I was looking at some photos and some video of what it does, and then it shows just like regular photos versus when it's using infrared, and you can see all the different temperatures of everything, like trees versus a building versus the snow versus humans. It's pretty cool.
And of course, it's fun to fly and all that stuff, but they have some pretty cool like applications for it. Not only flying over fires, seeing the hottest spots, but also I really found it cool. Search and rescue.
Yeah.
Right?
So in the event that they have to use it for search and rescue, it's going to be able to get to places that human traffic can't go to. So say it has to go, into thick bush or something, or down a river path or something, right? They can fly over the river and they'll be able to track hot spots, which is really, really cool because people can't get there.
So I know those communities, they're always looking on fundraisers. How about a game of hide and seek, you versus the drone, and people pay like $100. It's like Man Tracker, but instead of a guy on a horse, it's a thing in
drone.
the sky.
Yeah. That's a cool idea. That'd be
I'll
fun.
pitch it to the firefighters.
We'll see.
And speaking of fundraisers up in that zone, just a little further, Bragg Creek, they have a really cool event called Winter in the Woods. Mm-hmm. I really love that they wait until after Christmas because we are just inundated with light up and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So this is coming up in, I believe, like 2 or 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And last year they did something really cool. Human curling. Like, how do you top human curling, right?
Oh, looking at the photos from human curling. So I've never tried this.
But I
want to.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot tell me. Like, it just looks like so much fun. It looks so Canadian.
Exactly, right? And just for the visual, people go on inner tubes, and instead of rocks, you huck people down their rink, right?
Do you have a sweeper, though? That's the question.
I don't know. Well, they're doing it again this year, but they're like, you know what? This event is to raise funds for their outdoor rink. So they really want to focus on it. And they're like, you know what sport we should invent? Frisbee. So it is actually Frisbee golf mixed with ice skating. How they came up with this and how many people might get hurt, I'm really interested.
I'm curious to see how that's going to play out because, first of all, Frisbee golf. Frisbee golf is kind of already a bit of a tricky sport in itself. I think most people can kind of throw a Frisbee. But as far as trying to aim and hit the apparatus,
when you're standing on solid ground.
Yeah, on solid ground. That's tricky. Now you're strapping skates on.
Yeah.
There's potential that somebody could. Yeah, I don't know. This could end poorly. I'm hoping that they're gonna maybe wear helmets.
No,
people participating.
You just go hard, right? Is this going to be also a mix of ultimate Frisbee where people are running and skating?
Oh my goodness.
It's gonna be nuts, and that event is still growing, so it's gonna be really cool. And hey, we should start bringing in these weird. I know Frisbee golf is huge here in Cochrane. Why not throw some on Mitford Ponds?
Yeah, I mean maybe Kimmitt Cup could add that in for next year, right?
Exactly. And we also found out this week that Cochrane's getting another cell tower. Yay!
Woohoo!
And you were talking about one of the communities you lived in, the city. They almost disguised the cell tower.
It was quite pretty, actually. I thought it was just kind of part of their like community building that they had, and it was all covered in like nice, pretty rock. It would look like something you'd see like in Canmore or something.
You don't think the one by Mitford Ponds is pretty?
So I was actually living in West Valley when the one went up over in Mitford, and I still remember like walking around as it got built, and I was like, that can't be a permanent structure. Like that's just their temporary. That cannot be really a thing, because it's just the oddest looking tower ever. It's so out of place.
Yeah, so they're looking to add another one because obviously there's a lot of people coming to town. The location is a little strange, right behind like Mark's on the corner of the quarry there. Why there? I have no idea. I don't know if you've ever been to Fireside before. They have zero service.
Totally.
Like, it must be the best schools up there because kids can't use their cell phones, right?
Exactly. People complain about the lack of internet and cell service up there all the time. Like, there's a constant problem up in Fireside.
So might as well throw one up there, get it nicely designed, or like just throw more towers up where like the Cochrane now radio tower is, right on the top of the hill there.
Yeah, it is an interesting choice. I mean, there must be a need just with the growing population and more businesses and whatnot in downtown Cochrane, and with Greystone being developed and whatnot too. Yeah. So maybe that's why. The only thing is, the nice thing is at least it's not residential. And it's not like right in the middle of a park like the one over in Mitford.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And you got to imagine more and more are just going to continue to come. But our phones might be a little faster, so that's
we can
cool.
hope.
And are you really looking forward to some haggis later this month?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Have you ever had it?
No.
No.
Have you?
No.
How much would somebody have to pay you to eat that?
No, it's I don't want to ick some people's yum because, of course, it's for Robbie Burns night.
Yes.
They had to take the last couple of years off due to all the crazy stuff happening, but they are coming back in full force, and they do a full ceremony to the haggis.
Oh, 100%. And I come from a Scottish background, so sign me up. I think the whole ceremony, everything to do with Robbie Burns Day and Robbie Burns Night, it sounds like a lot of fun. Bagpipers, kilts, the whole 9 yards. Yeah. Absolutely. But haggis has always been something, and I've been around when people have served haggis.
Doesn't it smell?
Yeah, I'm a very particular eater, in case you don't know me at all.
You don't think a sheep's stomach filled with whatever it's filled with is
it's there's something about it. I just don't know if I could do it myself. I don't know. I don't
think you have to do it if you go to Robbie Burns night. Right? Can you kind of be like, no, I'm good, thanks, I'll stay too.
It's like the Newfie tradition of having to kiss a fish and stuff.
I'd rather kiss a fish.
Would you? Yeah. I don't think I could do that either. No, I've been around with that too, and I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool that it's coming back, and if you want some haggis, if you're like, man, I haven't had any in a couple of years, I believe it's going down at the end of January, and we've had quite a bit of talk of cougars here in Cochrane and the surrounding area. Canmore is under a warning, and it's really cool. The crossing at Ghost River sent out a video of 3 cougars just wandering around.
Just incredible video too, because they're just going for a walk. Just going
hanging
for a
out,
little
just
stroll,
buddies.
And you can hear the snow underneath their paws, and just beautiful creatures. But I would not want to see a cougar out on my walk. I'm not going to lie, like the last week or so, I've been trying to keep one earbud out of my ear.
Oh, that'll save you.
Oh, totally. I can outrun a cougar.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, totally.
You found some kind of weirder tips earlier this week. Like, we all know, stay as a group, make noise. Your one tip was people sew eyeballs onto the back of their toques.
Yeah.
So the cats then are, I'm sneaking. Oh, wait, they're looking at me. So I guess we all need some googly eyes.
Obviously, yeah. That's what somebody had said. I mean, I didn't make this tip up.
No,
but
exactly.
I read that somewhere, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. I feel like you might get a few looks from people.
Yeah. They'll be eaten by cougars, and you won't.
And
so,
you won't. So right? You're good.
And one guy on our Facebook page, when we posted this video, he's like, fun fact, no one knows why, but now cougars start to hunt in packs. So there might be several cougars hunting you. There's been no reports of them here in Cochrane, by the way.
Well, official reports.
Oh my gosh.
People have seen footprints, paw
prints.
prints.
But kitty footprints would be smaller. That's probably like a bear or something.
No, the one lady, she had her hand next to one, and it was way bigger than her hand.
It
was a big kitty.
That's probably a bear, and bears are
nice.
They're
Right
slow.
now.
They don't just sleep. That's a lie that's been told to all of us. Bears don't sleep when they hibernate. They just like chill.
Well, okay, fine. They're chilling right
They're
now.
chilling in Cochrane.
In their den.
Exactly. Anyway, that's everything going on in Cochrane this week. You can grab this podcast on all your favorite services. And until next time, talk to you later.
Yeah.